Hello there, dear friends. I'm so glad you've joined me today. Let me ask you something. Have you ever stood in your living room, looked around, and felt like your home was quietly closing in on you? Maybe it's the overstuffed closets, the drawer that won't shut properly, or those boxes in the corner you promised yourself you'd sort through someday. As the years go by, many of us find that our homes become more than just places to live. They turn into memory vaults filled with keepsakes, just-in-case items, and things that no longer serve us but that we haven't quite let go of yet. But what if there were a simple, gentle way to begin clearing space, not just in your home but in your heart and mind? That's exactly what I want to share with you today. It's called the one-box rule. And yes, it's every bit as simple as it sounds, but far more powerful than you might expect. And if you're someone who finds joy in a peaceful, uncluttered home, I invite you to subscribe and stay with us, where we share thoughtful ways to live lighter every day. Part 1. The one box that changes everything. Now let's talk about what exactly the one-box rule is and why it works so beautifully, especially for those of us who've spent a lifetime gathering stories, souvenirs, and stuff. At its heart, this rule is about forming a gentle habit. Nothing extreme, no pressure, just a calm, ongoing practice that keeps clutter from creeping back into your life. Here's how it works. You pick one box, any size, any kind. Maybe it's a cardboard box from your last delivery or perhaps a lovely woven basket that sits by the hallway door. You place it somewhere that's easy to reach, somewhere you pass by regularly, and then, whenever you notice something you no longer need, use, or love, you simply drop it in the box. That's it. No big clean-out weekends, no guilt trips, no mess spread across the floor for hours, just a small step that fits into the rhythm of everyday life. If you're like many of my neighbors here in Vermont who enjoy keeping their homes tidy and warm, who feel a little lighter when the counters are clear, you'll find this practice oddly satisfying. Researchers at Princeton University found that visual clutter competes for our attention, making us feel distracted and anxious. But when our environment is more orderly, our minds settle too. And isn't that what we want at this stage of life? Clarity, calm, control. That this little box sitting quietly in the corner becomes a daily nudge, a soft reminder that you can choose simplicity, one thoughtful decision at a time. Part 2. The power of one simple step. One of the reasons the one-box rule works so well, especially for those of us in our golden years, is because of its sheer simplicity. Let's be honest. The thought of cleaning out the garage or tackling that overflowing attic can feel downright overwhelming. Even the idea of reorganizing every drawer sounds exhausting. But this is different. Just one thing at a time, one forgotten item, one small decision, one quiet moment of letting go, and slowly, without pressure, the box begins to fill. A shirt you haven't worn in years, a kitchen gadget that's been collecting dust, a decorative piece you no longer connect with, even well-meaning gifts that never truly fit your style. You see, it's not about being harsh or cutting ties with the past. It's about choosing what matters now, in this moment, in this season of life. In fact, a UCLA study found that clutter in the home is directly linked to higher levels of stress, especially among women. But when we take small steps like filling just one box, we reduce that mental load. We breathe easier. I've seen this firsthand. Friends and neighbors tell me how they feel a surprising sense of relief, even pride when that first box is full. They're not just cleaning, they're reclaiming their space, their peace, and their power. And once that box is full, you donate it, and without skipping a beat, you begin again. That's the quiet beauty of this habit. It's not just about things, it's about a lifestyle of living lighter, with more intention and less burden, one box at a time. Part 3. More than clutter, it's about clarity. You see, decluttering isn't just about getting rid of things. It's about clearing space to breathe, to reflect, and to feel at peace in your own home. There's something almost sacred about walking into a room that feels calm, open, and truly yours. When we remove what no longer serves us, the forgotten trinkets, the expired gadgets, the just-in-case piles, we invite in more than empty space. We welcome clarity, possibility, and presence. For many of us who love to keep a tidy, meaningful home, every item we choose to keep should feel like it deserves to be there. Not out of guilt, not out of habit, but because it genuinely brings us comfort or purpose. That's why I see the one-box rule as more than just a donation bin. To me, it's a gentle reminder, a visual cue of the life I want to live, uncluttered, intentional, focused on what truly matters. And let's be honest, in today's world, we're constantly bombarded with messages urging us to buy more, store more, and hold on tighter. The simple act of choosing to let go can feel radical, but it's not about living with nothing. It's about learning to say, I have enough, I am enough. And that, my friend, is a kind of quiet strength that never goes out of style. Part 4. The emotional layers of letting go. Now, I want to pause for a moment and speak to the heart of this journey, because while clearing clutter might sound like a practical task, it's often an emotional one too. That chipped teacup on the back of the shelf. It reminds you of quiet Sunday mornings with your mother. That old sweater in the closet still carries the scent and the warmth of a chapter now closed. And even unopened gifts sitting neatly in boxes can feel like promises or expectations we're afraid to break. For many of us who value a meaningful home, these objects aren't just things. They feel like pieces of our history. Letting go can stir up nostalgia, hesitation, even grief. But here's what I've learned after many seasons of sorting and simplifying. Memories don't live in the object. They live in us, in our stories, in the way we carry forward what mattered most. By releasing the item, we're not dishonoring the past. We're making space for the present and the future. It's like clearing a shelf so the sunlight can reach it again. And I often remind friends, when we clear the shelf, we don't lose the story. We make space to write a new one. Letting go is not forgetting. It's choosing what we carry forward with intention, love, and lightness. Part 5. Why the one-box rule works so well for seniors. As older adults, we find ourselves in a beautifully unique season of life, one that's rich with stories, with treasures, and yes, with belongings that have followed us through the decades. Each item we've kept holds a little piece of our journey. A casserole dish from when the kids were still home, a quilt from a friend who's now gone, a box of ornaments wrapped in layers of memory. And yet many of us today are choosing to simplify, to downsize, or to thoughtfully prepare our homes so we can age in place with safety and grace. But here's the thing. That process doesn't need to feel cold or clinical. It doesn't have to mean rushing through boxes with a heavy heart or clearing shelves in a single weekend. What I love about the one-box rule is that it allows us to move gently, at our own pace. No rush, no pressure. Just a slow, steady rhythm, a quiet partnership with time. It becomes part of daily life. A shh, like watering the garden or waving to a neighbor across the fence. Researchers at the University of Connecticut found that small, repeated habits are far more sustainable than sudden, drastic changes, especially as we get older. That's why this method works. It's not a task, it's a rhythm, a heartbeat of homemaking. And for those of us who find peace in a tidy drawer or joy in a freshly cleared corner, this gentle habit is not only practical, it's deeply personal, a way to care for our space and ourselves. Part 6. Giving, not just tossing. One of the most heartwarming parts of the one-box rule is that it's not just about removing clutter, it's about passing things forward with care and kindness. You see, when that box fills up, we don't toss it in the garbage. We give to a neighbor who's just starting out, to a local shelter where a warm coat makes all the difference, to a family who could use that slow cooker more than we did. It's a quiet act of generosity, one that feels deeply satisfying for those of us who believe in community and connection. I've always loved the idea that something I once used and appreciated could now be part of someone else's story. That set of dishes from my first home now sits on the table of a young couple just married. That cozy throw blanket keeps an elderly neighbor warm through winter. And studies back this up. According to the Journal of Consumer Psychology, giving away items that once had personal meaning can actually increase our emotional well-being, especially when we know they'll be appreciated. So every time we fill a box, we're not just making space, we're sharing abundance. We're saying, this served me well. Now may it serve someone else. That kind of giving never grows old. It only grows richer with time. Part 7. Where to keep your one box. Now you might be wondering, where exactly should you place this box? Well, the answer is simple. It depends entirely on your daily routine. If you tend to notice things you no longer need while folding laundry, then setting your box near the washer might be perfect. If you like to tidy up before heading out, placing it near the front door works beautifully. Or maybe it fits best in a bedroom closet, right where you reach for your clothes each morning. The key here is visibility. The more you see the box, the more naturally it becomes part of your rhythm. It's not meant to be hidden behind a stack of storage bins in the garage. It's meant to be a gentle presence, like a friend quietly reminding you that it's okay to let it go. I keep mine next to a small bench where I take off my shoes. That way, if I spot an old pair I haven't worn in seasons, it's easy to drop them in before I forget. And remember, for those of us who treasure a neat and peaceful home, it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about being present, noticing what feels right, letting go with intention. So wherever your box lives, let it serve as a little nudge, not toward pressure, but toward peace. That's the kind of organizing that feels good in your soul. Part 8. Simple ways to make it even better. Now, if you're like many folks I've met over the years, those who truly enjoy creating order and meaningful routines, you'll appreciate this next part. Let's take the one-box rule a little further and make it even more personal. For starters, try giving your box a name. I call mine the Freedom Box because that's exactly what it gives me. Freedom from excess, from decision fatigue, and from holding on to what I no longer need. You might call yours the Fresh Start Basket, or Let It Go Box. Words have power. They help shift our mindset from losing to liberating. Another idea. Add a little sticky note with today's date on it. When the box fills up, you'll feel a quiet sense of pride as you look back and see how quickly or slowly the process unfolded. It becomes a gentle marker of your progress. And if you're someone who enjoys routines, try pairing it with a weekly habit. Maybe every Sunday after your morning coffee you drop in one item, just one. Or perhaps it becomes part of your cleaning rhythm, like a natural pause between dusting and vacuuming. Some couples even do it together. It becomes a lighthearted practice you can share, like organizing the pantry or planting herbs with your neighbor. And if you live in a larger space, why not place a few boxes in different rooms? One for the kitchen, one for the garage, even one in the bathroom for those spare towels you never reach for. These small touches turn the one-box rule into something more than a tip. They turn it into a way of life, one that's thoughtful, joyful, and uniquely yours. Part 9. A tool for decluttering the heart. Let's take a deeper breath here, because this practice, this simple one-box rule, is about far more than just cleaning out drawers or clearing off shelves. Sometimes the things we let go of aren't just physical. They carry with them pieces of our emotional lives. That blouse you never wore but kept because it was expensive. That gift from a friend that never felt quite you, but sat on the shelf because you didn't want to seem ungrateful. That old souvenir tied to a version of yourself you've long since outgrown. When you drop those items into the box, you're doing something more powerful than decluttering your home. You're lightening your emotional load. You're saying goodbye to guilt, to pressure, to the weight of shoulds that no longer serve you. And for those of us who have lived through decades of change, transitions, and life's unpredictability, this gentle act of release can feel like a quiet kind of freedom. Researchers from Yale have found that physical clutter often mirrors mental clutter, and that the act of letting go physically can create clarity emotionally. So the next time you drop something in that box, know this. You're not just making space on your shelf. you're creating room in your heart for peace, for joy, and for the person you are today. And that, my friend, is the kind of magic we all deserve. Part 10. The habit that builds a legacy. You might not notice a big difference right away, not in the first week, or maybe not even in the first month. But give it time. Trust the process. That one simple box, quietly sitting by the hallway bench or tucked near your favorite reading chair, becomes more than a container. It becomes a teacher, a gentle nudge, a silent reminder of how you choose to live. Over time, it helps shape not just your space, but your story. And one day, perhaps your children or grandchildren will walk through your home. They'll notice the sense of calm, the thoughtful order, and they might say something like, "Mom didn't just keep a tidy house. She lived with purpose. She made room for what mattered. She knew what to keep and what to pass on." That's a powerful legacy. For those of us who value clarity, peace, and connection, the one-box rule isn't just about decluttering. It's about living intentionally and leaving behind a home that reflects care, not chaos. Because when your home tells your story, let it be a story of wisdom, simplicity, and love. That's something no one will ever want to throw away. So, here's my gentle invitation to you, dear friend. Start today, not next month. Not when you have more time. Just today. Grab a box, any box. It doesn't need to be pretty or perfect. A cardboard shipping box, a woven basket, even a sturdy grocery bag will do just fine. Place it somewhere you'll see often, maybe by the hallway or near your favorite chair. And then simply drop in one thing, just one. Something you haven't touched in years. Something that no longer brings you joy. Something that's been quietly taking up space in your home and maybe in your heart. And tomorrow do it again. Just one more item. This isn't about cleaning for the sake of cleaning. It's about reclaiming your space. Honoring this season of life with grace and clarity. Choosing peace over piles, presence over possession. Because in the end, your home should feel like a place that reflects who you are now, not just who you used to be. And that, my friend, is not just organizing. It's living with intention. It's beautiful, it's freeing, and it starts with just one box.